In this first video, we're going to go way back to the beginning of Baguazhang, and we're going to take a look at the opening sequence that we're going to use before we walk the circle in our traditional Qi Gong. This is really important because it's going to be the basis of all the forms that we do, and also it's going to be represented at the beginning of all the forms as well. I'm just going to run through the opening sequence for you, and then we'll talk through the various Qi Gongs and how to perform each one. We're going to start with both heels on the circumference. Both feet are turned out 45 degrees. The hands are going to be just down by the sides, slightly away just so the quads are open. Now what happens? We're going to breathe in. We're going to turn to the left slightly, so turning in towards the center of your circle. As you turn out, the hands begin to turn around. And then on the out breath, as we slip that right foot forwards, we push both arms forwards in 2 number 4 palms. And that is our leaning on the horse and asking the way. Now from here, we turn our right toes out of the circumference, 90 degrees. We push the palms towards the outside, step around with the left foot, but keep the weight on the right. We're going to move into our second posture here, which is flower hides under leaf. We then take the right hand, turn it over the top of the left palm, and then we begin our third posture, which is flock of wild geese burst out. Now, just as we come to the end of this posture, the hands drop and release the tension, and now we're into our walking position, ready to start on the circle. As we breathe in, we turn to the left, the hands drift away from the body. You're going to hold your breath through the second turn to the right, and then your out breath starts as you slip that right foot forwards and push both palms to the front. We then move into our second posture by pushing both palms out of the circumference. We step around with the left foot, keeping the weight on the right. Left hand sits underneath the right elbow, and this is flower hides under leaf. Now from this position, we take the right hand, we turn it over the top of the left palm, and then we lead with the right hand when we begin flock of wild geese burst out. Okay, so I'll show you again towards the camera here, just so you get another angle of it. The hands are just loose by the sides. We breathe in, we turn our body to the left. Hold the breath as we turn the hands through. Breathe out as we slip the right foot forwards and push the hands to the front. We then turn the palms. We breathe in as we step around with the left foot. And then we move into our second posture, which is flower hides under leaf. The body's slightly turned around to the right. Now, moving into the third, the right hand scoops over the left palm. The fingers go over the shoulder, so we lead with that right hand. We're going to do a slight arcing up and over with both hands, and then release the tension, ready to start our walk around the circle. Now we're going to take a look at the postures individually and also how to perform them as their individual Qi Gongs. So the Qi Gong for leaning on the horse and asking the way is there to develop the backbone or the spine. And the spine is represented by the horse in traditional Chinese martial arts. So the left foot is going to take the majority of the weight. We're going to sit down and let the weight sink all the way through that left leg. You should be able to feel that connection to the floor. Now the spine we need to straighten at the top and at the bottom. So we're going to tuck the tailbone under. We're going to pull the chin in at the top, and you should feel the lengthening of your spine. The tongue is going to rest on the hard palate, and you're going to breathe in and out through the nose. With the hands in position, the hands are slightly out and away from the body. We're going to breathe and we're going to stare at our top hand. So in this case, it's going to be the right. So the idea is that you're going to slowly start to build up the length of time that you can stand and hold this Qi Gong for. The left leg is going to burn out far quicker than anything else in the body at this time. So at the beginner level, you're going to feel that there's a lot of development through that standing leg. Obviously, all these Qi Gongs we need to do on both the left and the right side. So from us leaning on the horse and asking the way, we do start off with a set number of breaths. And then on your out breath, you can let the hands drop. Just twist over to the left-hand side. And then breathe in. Breathe out, and then we're straight into the other side. So the second Qi Gong is going to be flower hides under leaf. You don't always have to go from the leaning on the horse and asking the way. If you want to go from a very static position here, you can find that position where you are going to be stood. And if we're going to be doing it on the right-hand side first, you're going to breathe in. And again, you just want to find that settled position. Just the right kind of level with the forearms, and the eyes are looking down and out to the left-hand side. And it'll be more of a peripheral vision thing. So you can look down slightly, but you'll see mainly right arm. And as you breathe in, you're just going to stretch your left palm. As you breathe out, you're going to stretch your right palm. And again, you're going to focus on that connection that you have to the ground. So from here, we can breathe in. You can do a very loose movement where the hands are open. And then turn the body back in as you close up. And then it all goes over to the other side. So my eyes are looking down through the bottom. I'm looking down at my right hand this time. When I breathe in, I'm going to stretch my right palm. When I breathe out, I stretch my left palm. And try to do it for the same amount of time or the same number of breaths that you did on side number one. Just like leaning on the horse and asking the way, we've got the same things happening with the spine. So we want to tuck that tailbone under. We want to pull the chin in, connect the tongue to the hard palate. And again, we're breathing in and out through the nose. So once you've done an equal number of breaths on both sides, you can then either move into the next part, which is going to be Flock of Wild Geese Burst Out, or you can just stop and practice something else. But by that point, you should feel like that the chi is built up slightly. Your forearm should feel a little bit heavier, but also like they're carrying a bit more power. So just try to develop the Qi Gong, see how you get on. And we'll move on to number 3, which is Flock of Wild Geese Burst Out. At a basic level, Flock of Wild Geese Burst Out is going to be your Qi Gong that you use to distribute that Qi from the forearms and send it all the way out to the fingers. So we start with the movement, and then we hold in this peak contraction. And this is just going to encourage more muscle tension to develop the body that bit further. So you can either go from your previous posture, which is flower hides under leaf. So if I turn at a slight angle, you should be able to see this. So as you finish your in-breath, you're circling. And then we're going to lift, lift, lift. And we turn all the way to the side. We want to keep the pelvis fixed. We want to turn at the waist, and we want to go all the way over until you feel that tension all the way around the midriff. This is a very, very tricky Qigong to hold because there's a lot of muscle tension involved. You won't be able to stay here for too long to start off with, but it's also very good for building the muscles of the core and conditioning the body for what we need later on in our Bagua forms. If you were doing from a basic Qigong position, you didn't want to go from the flower hides underleaf, you can do a basic Qigong position where you're just holding. But the idea is that you're going to have to get that right hand to lead over your left shoulder, and vice versa. Once we do it on the other side, we want to get the left hand to lead as we turn to the right. Okay, so I'll just do it in both directions first, and then I'll show you how to transition from one side to the other. So from a very neutral position where we just take a basic Qigong position, the hands are just out in front of the body. We're going to breathe it in. We're going to be staring at the right palm just as we begin this Qigong. So sorry, I won't interrupt this too much. So as we breathe in and we lead, we start by staring at the right palm. Now, once the left palm takes over, that's when we switch our gaze to the left hand. So we breathe in, we're looking at the right hand leads. Left hand takes over as we twist to the side, the tension's on the waist, and our gaze switches over to our left hand, and we hold, we hold, we hold. You should find it quite difficult to breathe in this position, but this is just helping to strengthen the lungs because that's where the pressure is being applied. So on your out breath, you can return and then back to your Qigong position here. So just standing, standing, standing. Now we're going to go with the left. You're going to breathe in and send the left hand up. And again, I can breathe in this position, but I definitely feel the strain down my right-hand side here. So I want to breathe for about the same number of breaths that I've got on my other side. And then release back to a neutral position where you can reset and get ready to move either into another Qigong, or you can move back into your first side and keep switching throughout your training. The most noticeable thing about Bagua training among a lot of other martial arts is the amount of stress and tension that's put through the waist. We still use the same kind of components of martial arts that we do, like the punches and the kicks and everything else, but a lot of the loading of the waist happens with the body twist. So we need to establish this hip position and the waist position on top. So really try to fix with all of our twisting motions. We want to fix the legs, fix the pelvis, and then all of the soft bit on top is the bit that moves. So just standing and twisting your body, you notice my legs aren't moving, but my upper body's moving plenty. Okay, so when you're doing all these Qigongs, really focus on the position of the waist in conjunction with the position of the hips. As you start to develop, it's going to become your driving force for your striking, your kicking, and also it's going to power a lot of that Qi into the different parts of your body for where you want to distribute it. Okay, so just to recap, I'm going to go through the form again. Obviously, pay attention to the foot positions, but really try to just practice over and over again. And this opening sequence can be done on both sides. So please don't neglect the second side, because just like all of the Bagua forms, we do need to practice everything on both the left and the right. So I'm going to start with my heels on the circumference. I'm going to breathe in as the hands drift away from the side, start to turn the hands through. Slide that right foot forwards, heel on the circumference, and push the hands to the front. Now, we finish our out breath. We hold the breath on our transition as we turn the toes out of the circumference and push the palms. Now we step around. This is going to be in breath. as we turn all the way round to the right. Now, out breath, in breath again, and that's going to rise up. We're going to arc over. And that out breath is going to happen as your body relaxes into your walking position. Okay, so from here we slip the foot and we step around the circumference. And this is where we start our Qi Gong walk. Like I said at the beginning of the video, we're going to do one full circle of Qi Gong walk before every single form we practice. So I'm going to leave you with that for today, and we're going to move into the form work from our next video.